Good morning to you, Andrew and Claire, up there at Pentecost, I presume. Over. Hi, Ambe. Okay. Well, that's a nice spot too. I'm just trying to get a pen, one of my various pens here to work. Ambe. Yeah. All right. What it looks quite reasonable. Oh no, hang on. I'm just looking at the wrong thing here. You've got quite a bit of cloud coming down on you. Over.
Pretty much fully cloud. Last week we were out, but we cut in northeast corner. Yeah, we had a good week yesterday. Normally along the North Coast.
I know. Sometimes it's really, really annoying. We've had the same thing. Those islands just do such weird things. I remember one passage we just thought, oh, the wind's perfect to get. I don't know where we were going up to. Yeah, where was it? The one, yeah, further north anyway. And we set off from Louisville, perfect conditions, and we battled right into it. About 25 knots of blasted wind. Yeah, it's really puzzling now. Well, not really, I suppose. Those islands are pretty high, so they do some dastardly things over. Say again? No, we're just not picking that up. Just say it again once more. Oh, Epi, yes, got it. Thank you. Boy, it's really noisy this morning. I tell you why, folks. Good morning to everybody. This is Goldfather Radio, ZFH286, Patricia and David. And yes, the streaming is on. David is just reminding me. We have had gale force winds since midnight last night. I got up about midnight to raid the pantry, and it was 25 gusting 30. And it's continued like that all night. It's been absolutely horrible. So don't expect any intelligence from us. Well, not from me anyway. It's the trouble with having good hearing. Not that you'd think so on the radio some days, but boy, we face the west, and it's a west-southwest wind, and it's still blowing in the 22 to 30 knot range. It is just really windy up here on the ridge, and the whole house makes rather a lot of noise. The weather is just horrible. It's with the driving rain that we're getting on and off. It's 11. Actually, it's gone to 12 degrees, but it was 11 most of the night and early morning. The bar is 1002. So the sky now is well, it's the clouds are whipping by, but we've got about 10% clear. So I will put it at 90% cloud cover with the occasional rain. Which was very, very constant for a while, but it's just gone off at the moment. So, yeah, it's just not very good weather. I hope not too many people are stuck out there in it. You probably are not if you've been listening to when is a good time to come to New Zealand. Certainly, I'll let you know what we are going to do today. We will officially start on the hour, of course, and David will... well, he's here now, actually, if anyone wants to call in. But he will be covering arrival weather. I think that's the best way he thinks of doing it for all the people that want to look at different departure dates. It's going to be the arrival dates with what sort of weather is happening here in New Zealand. The arrival date is the important one. For example, you would not want to be arriving today. It's pretty grim. So that's, I think, how he's going to do it. There's boats in Minerva. Good morning to you. We've got over, I'll cover some of the reports in a minute, actually. We've got boats in Tonga, Fiji, of course, and New Caledonia. I haven't heard of anybody in Vanuatu wanting to leave at this stage. I don't think, not to come to New Zealand anyway. Of course, the trip to Australia is ever so much easier. But, yeah, boy, it's, well, coming to New Zealand is better, of course. We don't have the snakes and spiders and horrible jellyfish and crocodiles and Australians and, you know, sort of things like that here. So it is worth the effort, folks. But, boy, the weather in October, as we've probably told you ad nauseum, is always a bit problematical. And, you know, the sensible people don't worry about it. The problem is, and especially for the new folk, there is this analysis paralysis effect that you get at some anchorages, the APA, the analysis paralysis anchorage. You know, you've seen it all. You all gather at places like Mumia or Muscat or Dinnerhour or wherever, and or Tongatapu, Pungamotu. Everyone sits around. You know, the more you talk about it, you cannot change the weather. So you might as well just go away and do something. Go kiting, go snorkeling, go hiking. Just go away for a while. It is not going to change quickly. So, you know, no matter how much you talk about it, and how much you want to get going, although why you would want to go early, I don't know. But anyway, just go away and forget about the passage for a bit and then come back to it when it's looking more stable. There's so much to do in the islands, particularly in the water. You are not going to be able to do that when you get to New Zealand. There is no warm water, tropical coral, tropical fish. Enjoy it up there. Go away and find some and get some more snorkeling and diving in. It's really worthwhile to enjoy it rather than sit around getting analysis paralysis. So that's my thoughts for the day. Is there anybody wanting to check in? There was somebody there. I'm not copying you, and I'm going to need a relay. Could you just make sure, folks, it's very noisy with the antenna blowing around. I have a receiving antenna which has really been hit by the wind today because it's right along it. It just whistles up the side of the house, which is where that antenna is. So I'm going to do a bit of a struggle. For the boat that's calling, please say your boat name a couple of times and I'll hope for a relay. Okay, I've got a relay there. Go ahead. Okay, if you could pick them up. They left on Monday, I think it was. That's not good. Arrival Wednesday, thank you for that. And I'm just looking at Arrival Wednesday, which I think from my memory of what David said on the 30th is not good. He is going to cover arrival times shortly. We'll wait a bit so that everybody hears it. But they really need to crack the whip on that one. Serenity, I think Serenity is quite a big boat. I'm just having a look there. Hang on a minute. Scrolling down. I've had so many people come in. Actually, I haven't got that one down here, so don't know what that particular boat is. Folks, we really do need to know who you are. If you can send an email, because we have boats from 34 foot to 64 feet, and it is quite difficult to give you advice if we don't know what you're capable of. So we do need to know that, and whether you are a catamaran or a monohull. So, but definitely not Wednesday. David will talk about the arrival times very, very shortly. So thanks for that, Andrew. Boy, you're coming in nice and clearly now. Over. What is your paper letter?
Moody 38, and I would like your email address.
Roger that. Thanks, Andrew. And for anybody who wants to email, it is GH Radio, all run together, at XTRA, extra, XTRA, there is no E, extra.co.nz. And folks, we are a little bit behind on emails at the moment. I will be back into them again today. Please, we are a radio show and we do stream, and it is available on YouTube. You don't have to listen live. If possible, listen there. Needless to say, we handle our supporters first. That's only fair, isn't it? We handle the supporters first. We will get around to all of you. Certainly there's been a lot come in last night and this morning, but I was away at a meeting last night, so we are slightly behind on emails, but we will get into them today. We are certainly not going to be sunbathing or gardening today. And even the people that were going to come and spray the house for me for the summer, they have even cancelled today because of the weather. So we will be absolutely up to date on emails by the end of today. All right, thank you, Andrew. And I'm going to do another call because I'm copying Andrew pretty well at the moment. Boy, we'll have to send him a box of chocolates. Is there anybody else for Goldfather Radio? Anything heard, Andrew?
Yeah, that's correct. So what's your question, over? You want the word there? Go ahead. Okay, on the course of 1902, doing 18.09, for 18, about 250, and you have 80% cloud cover ahead of you. What is your question? You want to know the weather coming up for you, though? Okay, so your transmitter is working fine in this direction. Okay, well, you're going to stand right here and wait to hear what David says, Roger. Okay, and Victoria, yeah. Okay, we'll come ahead and do a picture.
Just waiting for Victoria, folks. Good morning. Just for two. Good morning. Poor 999.5 up there. Really? That's a big difference between them and us, isn't it? Yeah. Just for two. I'm going to thank you on air because I haven't got your email address. So a big thank you to Just for Two. Remember, your weather's nicer than Auckland.
Okay, your position, Victoria, is 3020 now. 16 east. So you hope 2 and 25 to 30 knots. 3 metre seas and waiting for the weather to pass before you'll run into Opua. All copy there, Victoria? Or did I copy that correctly? Alright. Okay, well, and by Delta Radio, this is Arcady.
Yeah, I've got all of that. Thank you very much. And I don't have copy on Victoria, but very sensible people. Their previous owner, Jim, will be very happy to know that they are hove to waiting for the weather. They are folks at 3020 and 16826 East from New Caledonia. Hove to and 25 to 30 knots of southwest wind, 3 metre seas. So thank you for that. And Kuperi, if you're listening, you will need to go into Opua. Go into, goodness gracious me, you will need to go into Opua, not carry on to Nelson. It is not good ahead to Nelson. You probably have made that decision yourself, but just to confirm it. I'm going to now, folks, go through a bit of the passage weather that has come in from people on Passage at the moment, because I think that's more interesting than the news. I will probably do the news after David has finished. We'll probably get on to weather in about 5 minutes. But there's a bit of news, but it can wait. I think it's more important to look at what's going on. At Nanu Ifake, the wind is very pleasant, 5 to 10 knots east-southeast, 50% cloud cover. Yes, they are kiting there. So thank you for that. By the way, folks that have sent some wonderful videos and pictures, I am well behind on that. We're busy doing passage questions before we do that. I'm trying to sort of work out how to get pictures on the top of what is there rather than at the bottom. But anyway, good morning to Taranui at Kangamotu. I presume there are a few there. Sounds a pretty nice day there. Easterly 6, flat seas, bit of cloud around. Malachites at dinner hour, they are sensibly waiting for a good window. 3 knots of wind from just east-southeast, so it's pretty pleasant there, unlike what some people are coping with at sea. Exocet strike, this is Numia to Bundaberg. They are heading to Bundaberg. Looks pretty good. They've got, where are they in case Bonaire is listening? 2355 and 15531. They've got 17 knots of southeast, 1019, 10%, 1 to 1.5 metre swell, and the southwest current is 1 knot. So they haven't got far to go. So well done, you guys. Counting stars, they are at 2548 and 16533. They are targeting Monday to arrive, and good for them, a very good day to arrive. So they've got wind at the moment, about 45 degrees. This is a bit hard to work out. 10 to 15 knots of southeast wind, 10 to 15 at that position, 1.5 metre swell. So that's pretty good conditions for them. And by the way, folks, if you are on Following Sea or Yip, just let me know and I will follow you, and that means that I can just get the email from Following Sea and Yip coming into my system. You don't have to send another one. Okay, Muscat Cove report. Lovely pictures from last night. Certainly better weather than we've got. 15% cloud. This is from Captain Balu. Good morning to you both. 10 knots from the east. So quite pleasant there. Minerva, thanks for telling us about Minerva, Tim and Anna on Pakalei Lower. Quite a few boats there, and so you'll be looking at what your arrival day is like and what you can cope with. 6 knots from the northeast at Minerva this morning. Scattered clouds and no swell inside the reef, so sounds very pleasant. And this is a report from Maryland. They are, well, roughly 21 degrees, 17643. Ripping along, they have got an easterly of 13, so nice conditions there. It's 2054 and 17643, 30% cloud cover for them. Kuhala, this is from Josh earlier on, 2724 16714, 8 knots from the south, up and down, motoring 1017, bit of cloud all around. Lupan, they're on their way as well. They're having a wonderful morning. 2236175338. 5 to 7 knots from the east-southeast to southeast, 1015, and only less than 1 metre swell. They've got 760 miles to go, so that's going to be a bit of decision making there. So we've got local talent on their way here. The wind is southeast 12, where they are at 2520165558. So they're going to have to decide what to do because Wednesday is not a good day. This was some bit of interesting news here from Shandong. They're at passed through Kendabu, and they anchored off Kokomo Resort and thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a romantic dinner at the resort to celebrate their engagement? Well, I tell you what, folks, you might want to listen to this in case you were thinking of the same thing. The cost at the resort for one person, this is one person for dinner, no alcohol, $175 plus 25% taxes. Wow. I think they enjoyed their Fiji sausages and mash on board after that. So, but a couple of lovely pictures from there. All right. I know that you're all way more interested in weather than you are in the news, but I will quickly tell you, if you're Canadian, you have got another 4 years of Mr. Trudeau. They had a very narrow win, and they will have to rely on the support of the smaller parties, but they are now back in power in Canada. In Israel, they still don't have a government. Mr. Netanyahu couldn't put one together in the 28 days that he had. So it's now the turn of the Blue and White Party to try and put a government together. 28 days they've got to do the job. In England, the news is quite good, or I should say the UK. The Brexit bill has in fact squeaked past, but the tough one is the timetable, because they still reckon, even though they've passed it by I think about 30 people, they still now need to decide on the timetable, because Mr. Johnson is absolutely convinced he is going to do it by the end of October. Good for him. It's been delayed enough, but that bill, I'm not sure. I think they're discussing it as we speak, but he did get his proposal through, so that's a good one. I should tell you that in Auckland yesterday it was absolute total chaos. The new convention centre, which is being built and due to open next year, $700 million worth, went on fire in a massive display of black, thick, acrid smoke, which paralysed the city from about 1 p.m. when a workman went to Smoko and left his blowtorch, rather hot, lying on some bitumen. The entire top of bitumen and whatever else was there went up in flames. I think the whole top they just let to drop. But it paralysed the city. You could not get on or off the freeway.
Still burning, isn't it?
It's still burning.
Yeah.
They called in fire brigades from the Waikato and all around. Really a major problem because of the horrible acrid nature of the smoke. And then just finally, Turkey and Russia have agreed on what they called an historic deal over military action against the Kurds in northern Syria. They had a marathon meeting, Mr. Putin and Mr. Erdogan. The 4-day spell that America had arranged to get the Kurds out of the way of the Turks expired just when they finished, but they have given them another 6 days to leave, and then Russia has agreed to let the Turks go for it. So that's what's happening in Syria. I think that's about all I need to cover on this. We can cover the rest of it another time, because David has quite a lot. This weather is quite significant. You people need to make some sensible decisions. Here's David.
Yeah, sensible, okay. Oh, poor Patricia. By the way, it's her birthday on Sunday.
What's that got to do
And,
with
well, I think it's important everybody knows. I mean,
Getting older.
you're working like a slave. The meeting she went to last night, we are part of the civil defense system here because we've got the only non-telephone type communication on this peninsula. And that fire that they had that she's talking about was a very, very good example of how something like that paralyzes the city. Fire departments, as she said, from all over were responding to this. But if they had a fire here, there wouldn't be any trucks around. They were nowhere near this area. So those are the kind of issues they had to deal with. So anyway, good morning to you all, and looking at 500 millibar for the New Zealand area. Over the country, we've got a sharp shortwave trough, a nasty one. This supports a depression over New Zealand, pushing a cold front northern one actually. Gale warnings are up for Kaipara, Brett, Colville. In other words, all of the top of the North Island is covered with gale warnings. Southwest winds, 35 knots. We could attest to that right here. Feels like it's blowing the house away. And that's bringing a very, very rough sea to anyone closing on the north coast. In fact, talking about 9-meter seas to the west. Winds are expected to ease, I'd say 25 knots by tonight. Now, the cold front or fronts, they're fast movers. They're going to be up to 28 south by, actually one of them is by late tonight into the 1-2 a.m. Thursday time frame. But there's other fronts and other troughs that are on their way as well. A couple in front of this cold front and some in back of the cold front. So just when you think you're out of one, here comes another one. Now by noon today at 30 south, expect southwest winds 25 to 30, maybe 35. And that is about the case now based upon the reports that we've just gotten this morning. Couple of boats that are just right at 30. And fortunately have hove to. The smart thing to do. This is not a trivial task to get to New Zealand from 30 at the moment. So take very, very good care if you are between 30 and New Zealand. Nobody would hear us if they are anyhow. But hopefully nobody has made that effort and are staying north of 30 or right around 30. The reason we say 30 is, that's where most of the lines are on the chart, easy to find, and also the strength of the fronts in general are a little bit less than close inshore to New Zealand. Historically, that's been the case. So if you are not quite at 30, you may consider stopping as the winds will start easing on Thursday. And these cold fronts, like I say, they're going to be arriving, going, and so forth, receding and succeeding by troughs. All of that should hopefully, to a large extent, be gone tomorrow, except for a stray trough. Now, following this, our new high enters the Tasman. Its center is about 32 south, just east of Oz, just off the coast. Now, those trying to get to Nelson, Patricia had mentioned this a minute ago, really needs to think about Opua, as after this depression passes, the next front to hit New Zealand is going to be later on Monday the 28th. So you're going to have northwest winds preceding this, but that sounds nice if you can dart down to Nelson along the west coast here. But it's a bit of a gamble as to how strong that front is going to be and how fast it's traveling. Right now, the winds in it are 30 to 35 knots. And I'll tell you what, we've had yachts before doing this Nelson trip and have regretted every second of it the minute they were committed. Some got lucky and got down there okay. So as Clint Eastwood said, you feel lucky today. And you'll have southwest winds on Friday. So that'll be on the nose for you. So the Nelson thing does not look too good. Now, Other yachts that are planning on leaving the island soon, I'm looking at a long-term arrival time of, say, Monday 4 November as an example. We will have a weak depression over New Zealand, but the winds near northern New Zealand, the Opua area, North Cape, Cape Brett, look to be moderate from the west-northwest. So that's a date for you to think about, 4 November for arrival. But anyhow, prior to that, more important thing, arrival, a number of boats are talking about arrival about 30 October. That's Wednesday. Now that, to me, does not look good, and Patricia has mentioned that as well, as a much more aggressive depression lies over New Zealand. Southerlies behind it, all the way up to 25 south. Now, there is a discrepancy here with models. A few of you that are swearing by EC, looking at EC, they are disagreeing on this. They are saying northerlies for that time. And the reason for that is they're showing a secondary depression forming west of New Zealand, whereas GFS does not show that depression. I am favoring GFS for this. I could be wrong. EC could be absolutely right. But for the last month now, GFS has proven to be a little bit more accurate. And my rule of thumb is I will look at the worst case scenario as being the one that's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, you haven't lost a thing. So anyway, assuming GFS is correct, like I say, we've got southerlies behind that depression all the way up to 25 south, and you don't want to be in that. Now, arrival the 29th, the day before, obviously the 30th, could be okay. You've got north to northwest winds preceding the depression. They'll be about 20 to 25 knots. The better day, the best day is the 28th, Monday, which is what we've been saying for a while now, and I think we're going to stick with that. GFS is sort of agreeing with that. Some of the other models I look at, I think a lot of you know, I look at the Japanese model, I look at the Canadian model, I look at the Old Navy model, and so on and so forth. They seem to favor this, so I'm sticking with it. The 28th Monday, the earlier on Monday, the better. So that's the story on that. 28th Monday, if you can do it. Okay, up in the tropics now, satellite imagery shows plenty of convective activity. The Solomon's Trough, that runs to the Santa Cruz Islands as it has been. Then it goes on to northern Fiji, collects Rotuma, curves towards Samoa, and then eastward bound. We have another trough over the Louisiades. That's the one that's cutting through Vanuatu, and then just to the south of Fiji. And yet another trough affects Tuvalu. So in general, most all of the tropics should show convective activity of one sort or another. Quite a bit of thunderstorm activity as part of it. And I pick that up by looking at the cold tops. I see a lot of mesoscale systems, groups of clouds. They're usually CVs. They clump together. Mesoscale convective systems, we call it. And they're pretty nasty. So they're up there. You can see them if you pull in your satellite imagery. I think a lot of you are doing that, and I hope you are, because you can compare your surface analysis from the Met Services and also your models, and where they show a front. You can look at your imagery and see if the front really is there. You'll probably see a front, but it might not be where the model says it is. Okay, over to Tonga, where trough activity is quite visible on imagery, especially the Tonga Tapu area. So from that, you could expect heavy rain at times, and that'll be complete with thunderstorms, occasional thunderstorms as well. The rest of the kingdom is looking at scattered cloud and showers today and tomorrow probably. The winds are not bad, east-southeast in the 15-knot range by lunch today. And tomorrow, though, I see directional convergence, northeast winds fighting with fresh southeast winds. So northeasterlies colliding with southeasterly. So whichever wind you get depends on where you are, and you'll know about it. Fiji sits under a weak trough. Most of the activity is in the north. So expect cloudy periods really for the entire group. Scattered showers, there'll be isolated thunderstorms. That's probable. More or less the same thing tomorrow, though more activity over the larger island as is usual. Rotuma, again, is ground zero for the trough. Now, winds by lunch look to be easterlies, more or less. Figure the 15 knot range. Tomorrow, though, I see a shift. We're looking at southeast winds, I think, in the 20 knot range. Of the radars that are working there, I see plenty of returns, quite scattered showers, though, all over the Fiji area, except for where we don't have radar coverage. They still haven't got the SORI fixed. Vanuatu shows trough activity on satellite imagery. Yes, some breaks, but it doesn't look overly pleasant with a large number of light showers. Pretty evident. I would expect rain for Luganville and Port Vila off and on today. Lenikai, cloudy. I don't think I see any rain for Lenikai, but that could happen. Fewer showers in that general area. Winds, moderate. Expect southeasterlies 15 to 20. Tomorrow a little bit stronger. They're still out of the southeast, but probably 20 knots in the mean. And then New Caledonia. Lots of broken to scattered cloud on imagery. I think southeast winds 15 to 20. Windier near dinner time today, a good 20 knots, I think. And some area gusts much higher, especially north of Noumea. We're looking at 35 knot gusts up there to the north. Pretty frequent, in fact. Tomorrow, for our lagoon area, east-southeast to southeast, about 15 to 20. And that's pretty much it. I think, as Patricia said, because we have boats that are leaving at all different times to actually give weather for 7 or 8 days for each one of them is a bit silly. So I'm just going to give arrival weather dates, areas where I think arrival times look decent. And then you can decide where you're going to be the 6 to 8 days prior to that and whether or not those wind directions and swell sea conditions are suitable. That's probably the best way to do it. If you have specific questions, we can handle them, but it's just too much otherwise for me because there's just so many boats that are traveling at different times. So anyhow, I think I've given you the arrival dates that look bad and that look good. So that's how we'll do it. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. So yeah, that's it. I'll give it over to the boss here.
And I would like to just talk about a couple of things, especially this is for the new people. It is a passage that it is a good idea to have people know where you are. New Zealand's maritime radio, it's actually called Taupo Maritime Radio because the antennas happen to be in Taupo. Taupo Maritime Radio operates 24 hours a day. It covers all of the frequencies that you might want to use. You'll probably be using 8 or 6 or even 4 as you close to New Zealand. But all New Zealanders, and we certainly did, checked in with them in the evening when propagation is good. You can call in at any time, but they'll probably ask you roughly when you will call. But it's good because you can call in at any time that suits your boat. They are there. They have very good ears because their antennas are in a place that's very, very quiet. And they will take your position. We will know where to we contact them if we need to find out where you are in the evening. Very, very good service. You do not have to be a New Zealander. They cover everywhere from almost Australia through to halfway to Chile. So it's a very big area, and it is important particularly on this passage, to have a regular check-in. We do our best in the mornings here, but we really are a weather station. We'll certainly talk to you in the morning, but our situation here is quite noisy. It is good to check in the evening. The other option is Northland Radio. Peter has a regular sked though, so you have to be there at the time. But the advantage of that is that you get to hear where other boats are. So just call in. We would recommend Maritime Radio. Call before you leave to make sure that your radio is working. Ask them just for a radio check. If something goes mildly wrong or way wrong, they are there to help. They are right next door to the RCC. So any emergency or any sign of a problem, make sure you get in touch with them on any of the emergency frequencies. So make sure people on your boat, not just the captain, knows how to operate the radio and knows how to find the emergency frequencies. Most of these are preset in your radios, particularly if you've got ICOM. Make sure that someone other than the captain, who is probably going to be really busy dealing with whatever's happened, knows how to either use the radio or use the sat phone to put in a call to Maritime Radio or the RCC. That is quite important. It's part of your pre-passage things to do to make sure that when things go wrong, they usually go wrong in a hurry, that somebody else knows how to deal with that communication issue. But we certainly would recommend that in addition to whatever you do with us, that you contact Maritime Radio in the evening. Quite a few boats have asked us, do we send out a regular weather update? No, we're a voluntary couple here. We actually have other lives to lead as well as doing this radio work. It is just too time consuming. So we do have the radio program in the morning. We do respond if you have done the work to your emails. There are people that route you. You pay for that, of course, sometimes quite significantly. But if you want the work to be done completely by someone else, please contact a router. What David does is to comment on your plan that you have and just check that what he sees because of his experience is the same or maybe otherwise, and give you things to think about. So, all right, we have that. I will be responding to some folk on that issue on the email, but I wanted to cover that as well. All right, we have a few people here.
Get your news.
Oh, the news. No, we've had enough news. I think I'll just see if there's anybody that has anything to ask before we close down. Is there any questions or anybody with a report? I know we have a few boats. Haven't heard from Mana going north, but I think we've heard from most other folks. So if we can't copy you here, just send an email. I know that we've got boats in Minerva, and you've probably got enough information now to work out when you're going to leave. Anybody else, please call. Nothing heard. A question for you, Andrew. SOPAC. What time is SOPAC net on now? Over. Okay, the SOPAC net for you folk to keep in touch with yourself is still running. 2000 and 5:30 in the late afternoon. 05:30. So 2000 and 05:30. All right. That's 200. That was half an hour ago, I think, wasn't it, Andrew? Over.
19:30 now. In half an hour. In half an hour, 6209.
Okay, in half an hour, 6209. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong time here. I was looking at my computer time. All right, half an hour. The SOPAC net, folks. 6209 at 2000 UTC. We do work UTC at this time of year, folks, because everybody's on different times. Some people have gone on to daylight saving. Queensland hasn't. I'm not sure what's happening in Fiji and Tonga and Newcastle, but I know it's early in Newcastle. That's why people listen to the streaming on YouTube later when they wake up. Okay, 6209 for you folks to keep in touch with each other. And that is quite important. There's a couple of boats, and this is, I think, when people can help each other. There are a few boats now that do not have single sidebands. I could never cruise without a single sideband, but those boats that don't have single sideband, it would be helpful for them to buddy up with a boat of similar size and speed, really, a boat with similar size and speed, and keep in touch on the VHF as you do the passage, whether it's from Minerva or Tongatapu or Dinnerau or wherever you're coming from. So if you have a request from a boat that doesn't have a single sideband to buddy up, please help them, folks. This is a passage that, particularly for the new folk, it would be good if you can keep in touch with them on the VHF, just to keep them up to date with weather that we might give you along the way, any alerts that might happen. It is good to have a buddy boat that you can talk to on the way. So just think about that, folks. For those people that might be listening on streaming and don't have a single sideband, just have a chat to a similar boat. If you're waiting in Dinnerau amongst the mob, you're probably all waiting to come to New Zealand. Have a cruise around the anchorage and just see if you can talk to somebody that's a similar size and keep in touch with them on the trip. All right, I haven't heard of anybody. Andrew, I would like you to do a call for anybody that we can't copy that might be in our script. Eye candy. Last job, Andrew, over.
Yeah, I like that chocolate. This is Eye Candy calling for radio. Any other people please contact the radio company.
Thank you very much, and if anything pops up, don't forget our email address is ghradio@extra.co.nz. You've got nothing to do while you're sitting in what looks like basking sunshine in many places, although a bit frothy in others. Go onto the website www.ghradio.co.nz and just have a look. Got nothing to do. You can look at the lovely pictures. There's been some great ones come in, which I hope to get on putting on shortly. But read some of the weather stuff, communication stuff. Gives you something to look at. We usually, by this time of the year, have talked about what you're going to do when you get to New Zealand, but we haven't managed to do that at this stage. The weather has been so putrid, it's sort of taken pride of place. But never mind, we'll get on to that when it calms down a bit. So enjoy your lovely day up there. We'll enjoy our gale force winds here and catch up on emails. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. We're clear. Nirvana is near 30 South en route to Opua. Well, I hope they're going to stop a little bit.
What south?
30 South. That came from I'm just looking at the other stuff here. No, nothing more. I'm going to turn streaming off. Lisham is leaving tomorrow for Bundaberg. Aha.